welcome to another episode of the Tell Nut Show. Unfortunately, we don't have Kirsha today, so I'm your only host. I am Julia J.K. Allen. I'm an editor, author, and author coach that likes to put a little bit of magic in everything. We're very excited to welcome our guest, Stacy Rush, today. So, Stacy Rush resides in central Iowa with her husband. She started writing in 2017 and has since published over 20 titles, including the award-winning Twisted Hunger. So, we're very excited to welcome Stacy. Thank you. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your author journey. What is it like? What got you started in writing, and what has it looked like so far?
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to write, but as a mother of three, and it wasn't feasible with my kids always being in sports and
Mm-hmm.
or dance, whatever. It's a hectic lifestyle, motherhood. So
Yes.
I figured I'd wait until they're older. So I actually didn't start writing until I was until 2017. I actually became a stay-at-home mom at that time. And my oldest was out of school. My second oldest was a senior, and my youngest was a freshman. So it's like, okay, well, now's the time I'm going to just try and start. And it kind of worked out. So I started my very first vampire series
Wow.
in 2017, which was published in 2018, self-published.
Congratulations. Everyone
Thank
always
you.
talks about wanting to write a book or having a story inside them to tell, but not all of us finish the story inside of and push publish on it. So kudos to you for getting that
Mhm.
done. Quite an accomplishment.
Mhm.
So did you always know you wanted to write stories and you had these stories to tell, you just didn't have the time?
No, no. I mean, I didn't really start enjoy reading until I was like just entering high school,
Mm.
where my mother introduced me to VC Andrews, and
Right. It's
I
amazing the
fell
difference
in
like the
love.
right story makes for us when it
Yeah,
comes to
I
reading.
fell in love with that, and I've always kind of been more drawn to the romance and like
Mm.
the more taboo, the better.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know. It's always been like that for me. So, I mean, I read like historical romance, back then, it was all taboo to do that sort of thing,
Right.
outside of
Right.
marriage. And so, like, I really got into those romance novels and everything. But as for writing, I did actually start writing like in a notepad with a pen
Mm. Yes.
back when
Yes.
I think I was like 17 years old. And I every once in a while I find it, but I for the life of me, I don't know where it's at this moment. I've thought about maybe continuing it, but it's not really the story, because back then it was
Right.
a um time jump,
Mhm.
uh historical type thing. I don't know. And that's so
Right.
not my forte these days.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the genres you write and why you love them so much.
So I write dark romance, and I write multiple subgenres.
Mhm.
Paranormal, with vampires and shifters. I've got shifter books on the reading apps that we can chat later about.
Yeah.
And then I've got my bully romances, my contemporary. I'm writing a dark urban romance series now. Um, Erotic. I write everything. I really, really would like to write a dragon romance too. So
Oh, yes.
yeah, I'm just it has to come to me. If it comes to me, I'll write it. But if not,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah, so you sound kind of similar to me because I can write any number of genres as long as I
mhm,
can put a little magic in it. I'm happy. And it sounds like for you, it's like as long as I can put a little spice, a little romance in it, you're
yeah,
pretty happy in any romantic genre.
right, right.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. I love a good romance, but I have too much like I cringe too much thinking about writing sex scenes myself.
Those are my
I just
forte.
no, I know, and I love reading a good romance, but it's just like I just think about like, oh, what if somebody I know reads this?
Oh, see, and that the way
Yeah,
I've got that mindset, no shame in my game, it's like it is
right.
what
This
it
is
is. It's
true. This is true. There
you
is
were
no
you
shame
have
in that.
you have to feel passionate about it. You write
Mm.
what comes natural to you, and for some reason, my brain feels that comes natural to me.
Yeah, no,
So,
I love it. Like I said, I enjoy a good romance, but I just
mhm.
get very self-conscious when it comes to like actually writing the not fade to black myself. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
I tend to stick with like teenage character protagonists
And see
and
now, and
stuff, and then we don't have to worry about it as
I
much.
can't
Yeah.
write. I can't write. I call it fluff. I can't write fluff. I've tried. I
Yeah,
can't, and
yeah.
it's like you got to feel comfortable.
Right.
Some people are too worried about stepping out of their zone because their comfort zone because they want their friends and family to read
Mhm.
what they have, but they don't want them reading it like that. Well,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
friends and family already know me, so
Right, right. And that's the thing is I
people don't read it. They still don't
really
read it.
don't bother to think too much about it, but I think
Mhm.
I do have that self consciousness in it. But so tell me what your writing process looks like. How do you go from idea to then finished draft?
I'm what you call a plantser.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I love it.
I don't. I've tried outlines. They don't work for me.
Hmm.
It never sticks. As I said, I need the story to come to me. I do, try and think of the plot of the story and
Yeah.
the characters of the story, and then I go from there. And sometimes I'll be okay. Well, this is what the story is going to be about, and then a few chapters in, it takes a completely different turn. And I
Mm-hmm.
like I tell my readers, I don't even know how the story's going to end. It's just going to end on
Right.
the HEA because I always end my stories on an HEA. Like that's all I know. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's going to go this way or this way. There's possible endings. It's whatever. I always say
Yeah.
it's the voices in my head that tell me
Yeah,
everything. So,
a lot of people can definitely relate to that experience of feeling
mhm.
like the characters, you just recording what the characters are doing.
Yeah.
Uh, yes. So yes, no, I love some good discovery writing myself, but for me, I do need a little bit of direction of as far as like where am I going? What do I plan on doing in this chapter I'm
Mhm.
writing? Otherwise, that blank page is just like existential dread, right? Like,
Yeah.
what am I
Yeah.
doing? I don't know. So I like to do what I say because, like, I like it to be very loose though and plotting, not too strict with myself on that aspect. But I will do for sure sit down and figure out what my goals are for this writing session. So this chapter, what do I want to work on developing? What do I want to work on adding for later
Mhm.
parts to fall into place?
Yep.
But yeah, discovery writing. I feel like most of our guests on here are in this. You're in good company because they are also the pantsing discovery writers. Just recording what's
Yeah.
happening, and I think that's a very fun way of writing, right?
It is, but it can also, I feel like it's harder to
Yes,
do it that way. But
it
I
is a little
can't.
bit.
I am
Yeah.
so indecisive that
Mm,
like I'm unorganized. It's unorganized chaos,
yes,
that's my whole
yes.
life. And like I can't, and I'm a Pisces too, so it's I
So you're
I
very
can't
much a
think of things.
dreamer,
Yes,
imagination based. Yes, yes.
exactly. So I've tried, and I've got notebooks everywhere, notebooks, post-it note
Mm,
everywhere,
mhm.
pieces of paper, just I
Right.
scribble everywhere, notes on my phone. I'll be
Yes,
laying in bed
yes.
and it's like something comes to me, so I'll read out a scene onto my phone so I
Mm,
remember it
mhm.
for the next day. And sometimes it's a
Yes.
scene that I've already written that I want to add to. And so yeah,
Yeah.
it's just my life,
Yeah.
a chaotic life, and I've learned to deal with it.
I can relate. Being very ADHD, I am very haphazard. Like we were doing like some people were talking about coloring and they were like, "Do you go outside in or inside out?" And I was like, "You don't do random just jumping around all the time." That's what I do. I was like, "Wait, you guys have a method like you go outside in or inside out?" Like that's I missed that. I missed that day in class,
I
you know?
guess I don't really pay much attention.
But
I
it was just
remember
it was so yeah.
outlining it when I was younger, but now it's like I just whatever. I color, and
Right.
usually I go
I'm so
outside the
very
line, so it doesn't
sporadic
matter.
and random and haphazard, and it's more interesting to my brain that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. one thing that I find helpful if you do want to try very light plotting, figure out the action for that chapter, like what happens this chapter, what
Mhm.
what conflict does that cause, and then what's your goal? Like I want to develop the relationship between these two characters, or I need to foreshadow what's going to happen at the end. And that's basically the plotting that I do. That really like it gives me enough direction that I'm not staring at the page wondering what to do, but it doesn't take away from that fun discovery writing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I completely get that. And it would help. It would help me
Well,
if I
here's the
could
thing
just
though, my sister is very much, if she figures out the story before she writes it, she feels like it's written, there's no point in writing it. So I understand that side of it too, where it's just like
yeah.
if plotting's too much, if it's not for you, don't do it. That's why we love to talk about writing processes on here.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
so many different ways of doing the writing thing. Okay, my next question. What do you think is the most important part of writing?
Oh, um, the most important, well, the plot and characters, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Those would be well, for me it is, because I mean, it's when people think of spicy writing or whatever, it's like, oh, there's not going to be much plot. And
right.
I always have to write a plot. It may not
Yes,
be up to
all the
par to some or people, whatever. If I didn't want a plot, I would write complete erotica. Um,
mhm.
so I don't having a plot, and then of course the characters to go in that plot. Characters are my favorite part.
Yes.
Um, because I'm a huge why choose author.
Yes, yes, no, love that genre.
So I can't make up again, you know, chaos. I can't think of just one main male
Mhm.
character. I have to have at least three. Sometimes two. I
Right.
can get by with two sometimes, but it's just because I want to have, you know, I think
Those
it's just because
options.
yes,
Yeah.
it's because I can't make up my mind on how I want this person to be. Like, what kind of,
Right.
temper is this one going to have? Attitude? Is he easygoing? Is he grumpy? Broody? Whatever.
Mhm.
Why not have three? You can handle
Right, you can do a lot more with your story with more options. Yeah,
exactly.
100%. I think it's also really important to have good representation for relationships like that too.
Yes, yes, yep, yep.
So between plot and characters, because I agree with you, I think that romance gets a lot of shade as a genre in general. I feel like,
Mhm.
things that cater to female presenting people often get
Mhm.
shamed and denigrated in a lot of
Oh, for
ways,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I agree that there's that criticism that like, oh, a good romance book doesn't even necessarily have a plot. But no, every good book has plot, has strong characters. And I think that's what makes for a successful romance story, as well as
Mhm.
like there's more going on than just the relationship. There's things going on in the story to make it exciting for the reader as well. So do you think that plot is more important for you as a writer to know, or the characters?
Oh,
Because I feel
I
like
would
the answer is different when you're asking, like, as a reader, do you prefer plot or characters? Than as a writer, do you prefer plot or characters?
For me, I would have to say characters, because I mean,
Yeah.
without good characters, you're not going to have a good plot. I mean, you could have this amazing plot, but when the characters fall short,
Yes.
like you're not. I feel, I know I lose attention to a story if I don't connect with the characters.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, the connection with the between the reader and the characters are it's very important. And so, yeah, I would have to choose characters over plot.
I would agree with you. Yes, I agree. Because you can have a so-so plot, but great characters can make it work. But
Yes.
I feel
Yep.
like you're saying, if you have a great plot but so-so characters, it's not as much of a winning formula.
Yes. Yep.
I would agree with you. Yes. I mean, happy world, we have both. Good,
Yeah.
right? So
I try.
Yeah, right, right. That is just the ever present struggle.
Yes.
So, this is one of my favorite questions to ask. It's also one of the harder questions, though. Do you have a favorite author or authors? I'll give you more than one. And what do you think they do well? But that's why it's hard because it's asking for, yes, your favorite author, which is very difficult.
Yes. So I've got a few. I've got a few. Um, my well, like I've got a favorite author for almost every genre I like to read. So,
Yes.
but I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to name them all off. But Angel Lawson and Samantha Rue,
Okay.
they are they wrote the Forsyth series. That's would be like the Lords of Pain and Lords of Mercy, Lords of Wrath. And it's like a huge series. It's like going to be a 15-book series. They're still writing it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They're actually the ones that got me writing bully romance,
Sure.
um, dark academia and stuff. I absolutely love that. I fell in love with them, and that's again what got me writing. The very first one was My Bully's Love, and then moved on to The Kings of Whitehaven, and then Saints and Sinners. But and then I also love Dylan Page.
Hmm.
Um, I don't read too many MC romances. I like them. I guess I just read what I'm drawn to at the time, but I
Right.
absolutely love her Bleeding Heart series. Love it, love it, love it. She if an author can make me bawl through the book,
Yes.
I'm gonna read her. That's and she does very well in this one. Going back
Yeah.
to Angel Lawson and Samantha Rue, I didn't answer the second question. They really do bully well. they
Yes.
really they do the bully well, and they do hate to love very very well. And that's what I
Right.
strive for in my books. I always try to make my reader hate my MCs
At first.
just so they can
Yeah.
love them in the end. And
Yeah.
so there's that. And then with Dylan Page, hers, that Bleeding Heart series was kind of also a bully thing too.
Sure.
Um, but the same, I mean, she just had me bawling. And then another one would be Jennifer Hartman.
Mm.
I absolutely, her Still Beating and Lotus and Stars Are on Our Side. Those I will forever live rent free in my head. Um,
Yeah.
Again, how she tells, especially with Still Beating, like when they're captive, and
Hmm.
everything that they go through together, and then they come out of it and they're still going through it because now they're trying to deal with life again. And I'm just a sobbing mess reading the whole thing.
Yes. Yes. But sometimes it's so nice to sob, right? When it's not our own problems we're crying about.
Right. So when I'm writing my own books and like my Twisted series, and I have my readers messaging me say, "What are you doing to me?" Like in my PR boxes, I
Right.
sent out tissues because like I
Oh,
I would
good.
document me writing the chapter, and I'm here bawling. It's
Right.
like, see, if you're gonna bawl, I'm gonna bawl.
Yes. No. And they say that no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. So
Oh, I mean, and I am an emotional person as is, so it doesn't
yes.
take me much, but I can usually, if something makes me tear up, that's fine. But when I'm just not,
Yeah. No. I
it's
can.
like you
I
guys
can
better cry.
relate. Right. I'm not a Pisces, but I'm a Cancer moon. And so,
Oh yeah,
yes, if I'm sad, of course I'm crying. If I'm too happy, I'm crying. If I'm too angry, I'm crying. Like it's
yes, yes. I
but
I feel ya.
I wouldn't have it any other way though. Cuz like I really like when people talk about emotions as like how many
Hmm.
colors you have. Like how many colors do you have to color with? Some people just have like 4 or 5 basic colors.
Right,
Other people
right.
have 100, right? And I feel like I love all my colors that I have.
And I don't just want my readers to cry, I want to hear
Exactly.
that they want to throw their Kindles across the room, and
Right, and then
just
they're
all that
elated,
angst
happy the
and
next second. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I love hearing that from my readers.
Yes, yes, it is very nice. And like I said, there's something so nice about reading a book and being able to go through those emotions in a safe environment because they're not
Mhm.
attached to your life and your own problems and crises. So
Yeah,
reading is so therapeutic and so is writing. I love it.
it is.
What would you say you've learned from the writing process itself?
I've learned that I need to stay tough.
Yes.
Like, not I can't get upset, reading reviews, anything like that, which, I'm a people pleaser. I'm a huge people pleaser. That is my downfall,
Yeah.
believe it or not. And so, so when I first started and I'm like reading reviews and one pops up that, when I got my first DNF.
Mm,
And yeah, you would think that it'd be the end of the world.
right.
But at this point, thank God I had learned that I cannot, because I understand reviews are not for authors, they're for readers.
Yes.
And but that doesn't mean that we're not going to look at this.
Right.
Because they
Right.
also
We're
help us
still
to
people.
grow as
Hmm.
authors. And it really perturbs me when they leave a rating but not a review when it's like that low.
Right.
I'm not going to get mad at you, but I need to know what you felt was missing
Hmm.
so I know that to make, again, we grow as authors, so we need to,
Right.
we
Right.
need to know these things. Now, I'm not a fan of ones that just go and just be mean about it. You
Exactly.
can
Hmm.
you can DNF a book, you can give a low review and still be civil about it,
Right.
say why you don't need to, you know, just say mean things because again, everybody, whether you're just
No,
starting out
there's
as an author or
yeah,
even traditional published authors,
there's still
they
people.
still get low reviews too. And you don't
Mhm.
need, but I learned, somebody's 1 star is somebody else's 5 star. It's my books aren't for
Exactly.
everybody, and that was a tough lesson to learn
It
for
is.
myself. But now I've got a better, you know, um, outlook on it, so it's not so
Yeah.
bad.
No, it takes time and practice, right, to be able
Yeah.
to look at things, and say like, "Oh, this isn't a reflection of me as a person," right? Because
Yes.
we pour so much of ourselves into our stories and our writing and our characters,
Mhm.
there are babies, our book babies, we're like, "I made this, all of it with my
Yeah.
hands," you know? And so it's very easy to, like, get upset when you get a review that's not, over the top loving it.
Mhm.
But like you
Mhm.
said, everyone has different tastes, different preferences, and it has nothing to do with you. Maybe they just don't like bully romances and they picked up the wrong book or
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah.
always recommend, I say, if you get a bad review or a 1 star review, even you're in good company because look up your favorite author and see how many 1 star reviews they have. Like Jane Austen's
Mhm.
my favorite. And one star review I looked up one time and it was just like they just go to each other's house for tea and that's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. But obviously, she's not the right book for you, right? And it has nothing to do with Jane Austen's abilities or talents. And it's a nice reminder for us, like newer
Yes.
authors, to be like, well, look at Stephen King's 1 star reviews or Tolkien's or any of the big, classics that we read in school because they're such good writers and they all have 1 star reviews that are like, what's the point
Right.
of this,
Right.
So that does make it a little easier to see our own criticisms, right? So
Yep. Yep.
yeah. But yes, no, that's definitely exactly what you were saying though, that a lot of times when somebody is saying what they don't like about a book, that it's gonna sell that book for those exact reasons to somebody who loves that book, right?
Exactly.
Who loves
Yep.
those things about a
Yep.
book.
Yep.
So
Totally agree.
yeah. If you could tell a new author one piece of advice, what would it be?
Follow your heart.
Yes.
Don't don't let anybody tell you what to write. As I mentioned earlier, I also write for the reading platforms, and they've tried telling me what to write, and it's I can't. They wanted me to pretty much ghost write for them. It's like I
Hmm.
can't. The story
Right.
needs to come to me. I can't just, you can't just give me an outline and expect me to write it. It's not,
Right.
um it needs to come to me. And then I've dealt with them wanting to change the first few chapters, and it's like,
Hmm.
no, this is my story. This is what I want. Um or just readers, oh, can you write this, can you write that, or, oh, I don't like this, maybe you should
Hmm.
know. I mean, if you feel like you want to write it, then write it.
Yeah.
There'll be somebody to read it. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
it's just, you have to follow your heart every time. If you don't feel like it's right, um then trash it and start over again. I mean,
Right.
it's got to feel right to you, and don't pressure yourself to do it. It's because
Hmm.
it's not gonna come out as well that way if you have to make yourself write it.
Right, right. When they say right to market, you still have to be passionate about the story.
Hmm.
I feel like that is, it's just a different type of writing when you're doing ghostwriting versus writing your passion projects and stuff
Yeah.
too. It's a
Yep.
very, very different process, different things you're accessing. So you said you write for some reading platforms though. So being a mom of three, how do you make time for your writing?
Well, my kids are all adults now.
Oh, good. Yes, that helps. That
They're
definitely
all
helps.
adults. My youngest is away at college. So I'm just me. I'm just here, and it actually helps fill, the time,
The
pass the time.
empty
I didn't
nest.
start writing
Yes.
on those apps until 22. Um, when I'm not I'm not great at marketing my stuff. And from
Right.
2018 to 2022, like, my stuff was up on Amazon, but I didn't really push it. I had my Facebook page, but I didn't really push it because I mean, yeah, I put it up on my Facebook page, but that's the extent of my marketing.
Right.
That's all I did. I didn't know where I didn't have any mentors. I didn't know who to ask. I didn't have book talk at that time. Um, I really didn't know who to ask or anything. So I just,
Mhm.
just did my own thing. And so come 2022, it's like, okay, it's either I need to try and make this work, or I need to go back to work because I'm bored.
Mhm.
And I want to be able to make some money on the side. And so I started with Kindle Bella, and My Bully's Love. I started that story I pulled out of my butt. I didn't know what I was going to write, and then I thought of Lords of Pain, and it's like, ooh, let me try a bully romance.
Mhm.
And so my Bully's Love came to life, and it took a little bit to get started on Kindle Bella. So I went to iReader, and then I went to Good Novel, and it started to take off there. And then, like, a month later, it took off on Kindle Bella as well. And then, yeah, it just, I don't know. I've lost track of what the question was now.
Oh, that's fine. Like I said, that happens to us
So
quite a
much.
lot over on this show, actually. We were just talking about. Were we still talking about making time for writing? Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, so I don't have a life. That's just the bottom line. I don't have a life. I sit in my office and I write.
Yes.
Um, I if I so writing exclusive on the apps, there's deadlines and stuff like that, and I kind of got into that mode. So, and
Mhm.
I'm trying, I get out of it for a while when I started kind of moving away from those apps, sticking with Kindle Vella and Iratu, just because they didn't have, like, uh contracts and stuff.
Right.
So but now, Kindle Bella's gone, and
Yeah.
now it's like I got to start over. It's like, okay, what am I going to do? And
Mm.
but it helped me to be accountable. I
Yeah.
always wrote because I wanted to make sure I was getting the chapters out for the readers so they didn't have to wait days on end to read.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so, but I'm kind of moving away from iReader for personal slash business reasons.
Sure.
Um, but I'm still trying to finish my last exclusive on there.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it's not getting written every day. So, and I feel so bad for the
Right.
readers, but at the same time, I need to be, you know, writing what is, going to get me furthest
Right.
my writing. And that isn't,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
anyway, so it was keeping me accountable. And I really don't do anything anymore. My husband is a truck driver. He's over the road all the time. So it's just me and
Right.
my dogs. And
Yeah.
so it keeps me busy. And then of course I've got my PR team. And so I've got busy. I got a busy life, but I got no life. I got no life because I have a busy life.
I understand what you mean. I think that it's important. Like I would stay away from saying you have no life. You have the life you want to have, right?
Yes.
You want to
Yes.
do the writing thing,
Yeah.
so that's where you're putting your
I
time
I
and
love
energy.
writing. Yes.
Yes.
I'm always it really drives me crazy because I'm always thinking of new stories. I've got so
Yes.
many like whips, like with like
Right.
1 to 3 chapters started here, there, but it's like I can't get to it
When can
because
you
I can't
ever
write it
find the
fast enough.
time? Yes. No.
Yes.
It's a great problem to have, but I
Uh-huh.
understand it. Yes, yes, that's still a problem because there's just like, when will I ever write everything I want to write? But I love that for you. Like, it's better to have too many ideas than like not enough ideas, right? So,
Yes. Well, and
yeah,
then I'm writing series. I always write series. I
yes.
have one standalone. The rest is all
Oh, yeah.
series.
Yes,
So
yes.
but again, I have a hard time finishing a story.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
that's why I have series or duets or whatever.
Right. You
But
just want it to keep going in that world. I understand
yes.
that so
And then
much. It's
another
so
one
hard to
comes to
say
mind. It's like,
goodbye.
okay, now I gotta finish this one so I can start that one. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What would you say is your favorite part of writing?
Developing the
Mm.
characters and stories and I love it. And I think like it just kind of keeps me grounded.
Mhm.
I'm always before I was really writing seriously, I was kind of like just all over the place.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like I didn't know what to do anymore. I was at that point where it's like, what do I do with my life? And
Right.
so it's like now is a good time to start writing. And so I did. And well, first it started off reading. I was constantly reading. It's like, okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm one of those, oh, I could so write that better. in
Right, right.
my
Although
head, in
the
my head,
reader
not
to
saying that there's
the
anything
reader
wrong with
to
those
writer
authors, but
pipeline exists for a reason. I
or
feel like you become a reader, and then you're like, why would you do that when you could have done this? And then that's how you become a writer.
exactly.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like I don't want to say I could write it better, but it's like I would so do this instead.
Right,
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, I was in my vampire era when I started writing, so that's where my elite came in. And
Mhm.
it's like I love the blood-sucking vampire, you know, as much as the next person, but
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, well, what if we had this kind of vampire? They're vampires, but they're still human and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so my elite was born, and but it's that's what it's more about. It's like, what if we had this instead of this? And
Yes,
I
yes.
just took off from there. So
Yes, what if is the great question behind all stories. I love
yeah.
that. Do you have a least favorite part of writing?
Marketing.
Yes, yes. Common answer. I'd say the number one answer is editing, and the very close second is marketing.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I will. I mean, I would rather edit than market. I
Yes.
really would.
Yes.
Did in marketing, I learned how to format myself too. So I hate formatting.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
but
Very tedious,
I
finicky work.
also dislike the amount of time it takes to write a book. Because again, as I said, I've got all these
Yeah.
whips, all these stories I want to get out, and it takes too long to do
Yes.
writing a
Yes.
story. So those would be the top tier ones anyway.
Yes. You're right. Understandable. All of them are very relatable. What would you say influences your writing?
Oh, I'm not just like I'm really not sure on that one.
Mm.
I could be walking down the street and I can see something and it'll be like, oh, I could do
Yeah.
that, you know?
Mhm.
And then the gears get going. And I was just talking to my PA shortly before, well, one of my PAs shortly before we came on here,
Mhm.
and I was telling her about I had come across this. I was looking at this app and like all these different stories, and another one came to me, and it's like, "Ooh, what if I did this and this?" And she's like, "Yes, yes, yes." It's like, okay, well, after my next 10 books that I write,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, I don't have really, I don't know. They again, it just comes to me. I don't have anything that really
Right. I
gets
think
me. I'm like looking around
writers
my
are
room.
just
It's like I'm going to find it here or something.
no, I know what you mean though. But writers are really great at just like seeing the possibilities in everything in the world. That's why we're like
Oh
people
yeah,
watchers naturally, because you watch someone and then you start to think about what's their story and what's their life, and the story
yes.
just kind of goes from there. So you can get influenced by everything and nothing. So I love that.
I always tell people it's like don't if you don't want to be in a book, don't do this, don't say this or whatever
Right.
because if you tell me a story, it might end up in one of my books. So it's just I
Right.
mean, you never know. Like you said, we're always very aware of everything going on around us. So I don't think people
Right.
realize that so much. So
Yeah, that's not an idle threat of like behave or else you'll be in my book.
exactly.
So we were talking about writer's block, and you were writing a book, and you ended up making it a little too spicy.
Yes. And so I learned from that. And now I either step away for a little while or I um, go to one of my other whips and I work on that for a little bit before I go back.
Yes. No, I find that very helpful when I have like a couple different projects going, especially if they're at
Mhm.
different stages, right? So if you get frustrated or
Yeah.
stuck in one spot, you just jump to a different project, and
Yes.
especially if it's in a different process of the writing process, then that can be very helpful.
Yes. Yes.
I used to read that way too. So if I get to a point in a book where I was just like, oh, too much anxiety, too much
Yeah.
tension, or I'm really bored with this character, I jump to a
Oh yeah, I'm
different book.
reading 3 books at a time, and then
Exactly. Yes.
I'm writing 2 books right now at the same time. And I
Right.
was writing 3 to 4 books at once at one time, and it's like that's just
Right.
too much.
That's a
So
little too much stress. Right. All right. What do you think has been your most significant writing victory so far?
um becoming award winning for my
Yes.
Twisted Hunger. I was so psyched on that one.
Yes. Kudos.
So
Congratulations
yeah,
again.
that's my biggest accomplishment. That's step one. Step two is bestseller.
Yes, yes. We're manifesting that in our
Yes,
future. Yes. Wonderful. Yes. No, congratulations. Like I said, it's hard enough to write and publish a book, but
yes.
to write and publish an award winning book, yes, we love that for you.
I mean it was winner in 3 categories and
Oh,
finalist in 2.
yay.
So
Oh, yeah. That's got
it
to
was
feel really
I was
good
very
then.
happy.
Yes, yes. Wonderful. And then this is my favorite question to end on. What is writing advice that you hate? So,
I don't hate any writing advice because again,
sure.
as an author, I love growing as an author and
Hmm.
any and all, I'm willing to take any and all advice. So I can honestly say I don't hate any writing advice because I'm always learning as an author.
Yes,
And
yes.
so, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's those absolutes, like, you have to write every day, and I'm just like, there's a lot of people in this world that can't do anything every day,
Yeah,
let alone writing. So,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's been wonderful chatting with you. I want to give you the opportunity to let our audience know where they can find out more about you and your books online. So here's the time to share socials, your website, all that fun stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all at authorstacyrush.com. I've got a website, www.authorstacyrush.com. That just lists all my titles, and I also have a little store there. It is a little bit under construction. It's still
Sure,
working. I'm just kind of switching to like trying to get my Shopify account up and going too.
sure.
I
Mm-hmm.
just started my newsletter, so you can sign up um, on my website for that. You can find me on Amazon, Author Central, and you can find some titles that are not on Amazon on iReader. Um, well, iReader has my exclusive shifter ones, but yeah.
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's hard to part from the writing, so we appreciate you joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. No, I wrote my chapter earlier, so
Oh,
I was
wonderful.
good
You
to
can
go.
fit us in. Yes. No, we appreciate it so much. And thank you to everyone listening along at home. Remember, there is more than one way up a mountain, and our next episode will air Friday as usual. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, you can find us on social media at The Tell Nut Show or email us at thetellnutshow@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing and liking. We appreciate all the support. Julia J.K. Allen is an author, editor, and coach and can be found at hijinksrunner.com.
Kirsha Fox is an author, avid reader, gamer, and mother to four, and you can find her at kirshafox.com. Thanks and see you next time.